This is Action and Ambition, the show that takes you all over the world to share interviews with the most successful and relevant people on the planet. Hear their backstory, get the most important lessons they've learned on their road to success, and hear exclusive tips on how to implement their success in your own life. Action and Ambition is brought to you by Entrepreneur Magazine and your host, Andrew Metal.
Welcome back to the Action and Ambition podcast. We are here with Sheila Clefcorn. She is a marketing expert with more than 25 years of experience. Sheila has helped hundreds of enterprises increase revenues by hundreds of millions of dollars. She leads a talented team of marketers in creating and executing award-winning marketing campaigns across the U.S. and in more than 100 countries around the world. Sounds amazing. Sheila, glad to be talking to you.
Thanks. Great to talk to you too, Robert.
So just jumping right in, what has been on your mind the last 6 to 12 months? What's been your passion? What's been your focus? What has you fired up these days?
Sure. Well, I think COVID's been on everybody's mind. And as an agency who helps companies who sell to other companies, B2B businesses, we've done a lot of repositioning for our clients so that they can be more relevant and provide more value in this different world that everyone is living in. So we've actually created a program. I've been doing it for about 5 years, but more so in the last year, called a fractional CMO program, fractional Chief Marketing Officer. This enables mid-market companies from $5 to $50 million in revenue to get the resources that big enterprises have, a big marketing team, a senior level marketing at a fraction of the cost.
And that's really cool because I'm sure that you've been stuck in the situation where I say, I need to hire like this person and that person. I need someone with this skill set and that skill set. And sometimes it takes months or sometimes it takes going through 4 or 5 people. And so I get the need for this where sometimes I want to plug into a team where there's all kinds of varied people and all kinds of, e-commerce experts or website experts or like shopping cart experts or something. And I say, well, I don't have like 7 years to figure out how to get like 7 people on this team and 5 people on that team. So this sounds amazing. And I've heard of this buzzword a little bit recently, this fractional CMO thing. It seems to be the hot trend. So can you tell us what it means to be without a fractional CMO, like maybe the old way of doing it versus this new innovative solution that you have?
Sure. Well, thank you. And you're very insightful about that in terms of the experts. So sort of pre-COVID, I think what a lot of companies thought they needed was to have all of their marketing in-house or have at least their marketing leadership in-house, and then maybe an agency to support them. And the thought was, I need my leadership to be full-time, totally focused on my business. And there's a lot of truth to that. But post-COVID, or we're not exactly out of COVID, but today, many enterprise companies, many mid-market companies have distributed workforces. So their teams may be in different locations. That's enabled companies to also think about their investments in those resources. And that if I had a CMO working half-time on my business, but they were senior and they could move quickly and they already had a playbook for how to give my company success, I could get them up to speed faster. And I could keep my costs lower so that I could have better results.
And it seems like the line's been blurred a little bit here, the way that you're describing it, that before it used to be like have in-house full-time employees, maybe cost more, or maybe work slightly slower versus go out and get the freelancers or hire their external team. But now with this remote work, it seems like you're saying like it's kind of the full-time in-person employees, like in a lot of ways, it doesn't exist anymore in a lot of locations.
In some cases, I think we have companies at all ends of that spectrum of all total in-house and total outsourced or fractional. The challenge is in the background is that marketing's gotten tremendously more complicated than it was in the past. Google makes more than 12 major algorithm updates, the mathematical formula of how you get on the first page. They make more than 12 a day. That's thousands and thousands of changes. LinkedIn's making changes. In this era that we're in right now, most everybody's had to move their marketing to digital. So you need specialists who can understand how to maximize the platforms, how to get the best results, and can get up quickly because your competition is also moving fast. So what happens with a lot of mid-market companies is they have enough money for marketing to have a maybe not a senior level leader in marketing, but somebody who is kind of at the middle. And they may have, that person may have a couple of marketing assistants. And so you have a team of generalists being expected to compete against companies who are significantly more resourced. And if you have a small group, either one or two or three marketers in your company, and they're expected to do everything, they're not going to be able to succeed today because marketing is much, much too complicated. So what companies then do, the next step they typically do is they go out and find an agency, and they have their generalists work with an agency to get some results. And they oftentimes have mixed results because that agency isn't as invested in their company as if they had in-house people. And so what this model that we have does is it tries to solve for both of those things. And we've really done that very successfully over the last 5 years, where I would serve as the fractional VP of marketing, their VP of marketing. I still go to all of their executive meetings. I'm very much embedded in what's happening across the company, not just what's happening in marketing. And then my team serves as an extension of whatever marketing resources they have on their team. So they can, as you mentioned, get up to speed quickly, and they can get senior level strategy and execution for a fraction of the cost. So they can have a $2 million marketing department for $250,000, for example. And today, hiring a CMO might be $200,000 or $250,000. If you've got that person's brain, plus you got a team for that amount of money, and you could leverage a $2 million marketing team, a lot of companies are choosing to do that.
Amazing. So instead of having one extreme or the other, and neither one really seems to fit quite right, you found a way to make it work in the middle. And so to help us really understand all this and really drive the point home, do you have any interesting stories to share with us about how this solution has worked? Because that's always fun, right? To hear about how things were just like a disaster, and then you went and looked at the situation and solved it and applied your magic. Things were okay afterwards. So what do you have for us as far as case studies, success stories?
Sure. So currently we work with a company that is in the human resources space. They provide solutions for companies looking to hire great people. And they've tried a variety of things. They had tried outsourced agency work, they had tried in-house people, and they weren't getting the results that they wanted. So we did a pilot project, put together an audit for them, and they were amazed by the results. From there, we went on to redesign the website and their positioning, the messaging that they were going to market with, and launched a new website. I started being a part of all of their executive meetings with their product development people, their sales people, and we combined our strategies across those departments. So 2 years later, the company has nearly tripled in size and is on track to have a probably more than 250% growth next year as a result of that. They wouldn't have been able to do that quickly without having somebody who had experience in their industry, somebody who had experience with a SaaS platform like they have, and they're really happy with the results.
Amazing. So you said you fixed this and you fixed this with the SaaS platform, and it's part of your story in there. You mentioned about the positioning, about kind of going back and redoing the website, and I find that kind of interesting because it seems like when you have too many generalists or you kind of do it yourself, there's like so much guessing. There's so much like wondering, well, am I doing this like better than my competitors, or is this like really makes sense? And I can also imagine how maybe if a business is too close to it, they might not know about the positioning. And if you're like not too much in the business, it's like similar problems. So did you have any difficulties or second guessing figuring out that website redo and the positioning? Because it seems like one of those things that maybe requires a lot of sitting and thinking, perhaps.
Well, we did that up front. We met with the various members of their team. We talked to some of their clients. We put together a well thought out strategy based on looking at their prior data and then our experience of what works, because we've done this for hundreds of companies before. So we were able to take our experience combined with some knowledge and research of their existing environment, and we needed to move pretty quickly. But just even with the website, one of the smallest things that we did is that we put a request a demo form on the top of their homepage. The form was sort of hidden before, and we knew that if we could get people into their funnel and get more demos more quickly, we did research and it showed that if somebody got to that stage in their sales cycle, the demo stage, then they closed half of their demos. Well, that's great. So we wanted to get more people into the demo. So within 2 weeks of launching the new website, their leads increased by 48%. And with
Fantastic.
a 50% close rate, you can imagine how quickly we had results from that. And that's just because we have a lot of experience doing that kind of thing. And we were able to update the messaging to fit where they were in the market. We did some competitor research to identify how they're doing against their competitors. And we now do that for them really frequently, at least every quarter for them. And so we're constantly iterating. That website was developed 2 years ago. We are soon going to be launching a new version of that website to take it up a notch even from there. So marketing is an iterative process, and it really takes having enough people. So they now have 17 people on their in their marketing department, as opposed to the couple of people that they had before.
Nice. So growing and growing with more successes. And what you're making me think of was a few months ago, or maybe a few years ago, I saw these screenshots of what Amazon looked like in like 1998, what like New York Times looked like in 2000. It was really cringy. But I mean, if you think about it, like all these top websites every year or two, or if not even more frequent, like they're redoing their website all the time. Like every time I go to Apple's website, it's like completely different, everything, but then somehow the same. It's like they like kind of looked at what worked and then iterated, as you said. And so is it common to come across these easy wins and this low hanging fruit? Because I imagine sometimes you jump in and like, I'm sure there's a category of like long-term things to be figured out, things to like slowly chip away at. But is it common to at least have right off the bat, like a few easy things that are just like staring you in the face, like this demo form issue?
Yes, it is common that we have some low hanging fruit that we can get traction on right away. And we look for those things because ultimately the reason somebody would make an investment in working with us is they want results. So we want to prioritize what are the results that we can get quickly, get more leads into their funnel for their sales team. How can we improve how marketing is working with their sales team and have higher quality leads, for example? How can we get that moving in the right direction while we do some of the other strategic things? One of the things that we do often at the beginning is something called story brand messaging. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's
Donald Miller.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm a certified story brand guide. And really that very simply, that's about making your messaging really clear and putting it in the mindset of your clients or your customers. So we do a lot of work in tech with tech companies, and a lot of tech companies talk about the features of whatever their tech is, and they talk about how cool their tech is. Most people who go to the website, well, that's cool, but it makes the reader have to figure out, do those features solve the problems I have? And it puts all the onus on the visitor to the website, as opposed to telling them really clearly that you understand what their pain points are or what their issues are, and our tech solves it. So that's one of the quickest things that we typically do, is we can adjust their messaging to be more client or customer focused. And then we typically get really good results from that.
And you make it sound so simple of just, and like it's how it's really easy to fall in that trap of talking about features and we have 8 chips on our circuit board or whatever. But instead of saying, well, wait a second, did someone really come to the website to find out how many chips you have on your circuit board? No, they said, I have this problem. I need this app or the software to solve it. I'm looking to see if I'm a right fit. And it's one of those like super duper marketing basic 101 ideas, but it's like, it's so easy to forget about that or fall out of that someone came with a problem and we need to show that we understand their problem and that we have a solution from them. Make it sound so simple.
Well, it actually is a very simple concept. Sometimes it's hard to do. And it's particularly, I was just in a meeting yesterday with a business owner who just kept saying, I want more traffic to my site. And his site is a very feature-oriented site. I just want more traffic and I know it'll be better. And I was really honest with him and I said, more traffic doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get more leads if you can't convince them that what you have for them is going to solve whatever their needs are. And it was a hard thing for him to think about because he's been told there's so many blogs and podcasts out there that say you just need more traffic. I said, if you got less traffic, but it was more of the right traffic that generated the right leads to increase your sales, wouldn't that be better? And he had a tough time with it. And that's a case when it's probably not a client that we would take on, because we need to be able to help our clients understand what actually works.
And it seems like in that case, your thought process is about like unclogging the bottleneck, because
Right.
like years ago, I saw some guy being super dramatic on stage, and he had like a funnel, physically a funnel like you play with like in the sandbox, and he like
Uh-huh.
poured a bunch of pennies in it, and I was thinking like, you know, if you pour all these pennies into the funnel and like a few drop out of the bottom, if you just poured like a waterfall worth of pennies, you're not gonna unclog that funnel. And kind of
Right.
like the past case study that we talked about, where there was like already a link to schedule a demo, and like you moved it, you enlarged it, you optimized that a little bit. It seems like so many times like these people are focusing on the wrong problem. They think that there's this magic bullet such as more traffic, but I mean, you can send 10 times, 100 times as much traffic. If there's something broken in that sales funnel process or in the conversion or something, then you're still dead in the water. So that's interesting to think about, that like one
That's
little
a really
solution,
good example. Yeah.
yeah, well,
That's
one little
exactly right.
gimmick might not get me out of the jam I'm currently in.
And if you step back from that, like for this gentleman, he's really frustrated. He's put his life savings into this business. He's been working a crazy number of hours as an entrepreneur to build this business. And what he was really telling me is, I want somebody to solve my problem. And he feels like as an entrepreneur, he's done a lot of reading about digital marketing. And so he knows what the answer is. The answer is just more traffic. And what I know from doing marketing for nearly 30 years is that more traffic isn't the answer. The answer is better traffic and helping people understand that what he provides will solve their problem. Because then not only is he going to get leads from those prospective customers, but he's going to get referrals, because their experience is going to be, hey, I found this site and gosh, it totally met my needs. It's exciting. And then they're going to tell other people because they had a great experience. And so that's what I mean by marketing is more complicated than ever. We need to have the right message. We need to have the right marketing channels. We need to leverage data to determine what's working. And all of that takes building a system around marketing. So what we do is, once we get set up with a company, we get some quick wins, and then we build an infrastructure or a system around marketing that they can depend on. And as a part of an extension of their team, they can trust that somebody's thinking about their business 24 hours a day in the same way that they would if they had an in-house person. They can trust that we're not just an agency who's going to work on their website and their Google Ads campaign, but we're actually a full extension of their team thinking about how do we get the goals that they want. And for most entrepreneurs, I mean, the thing that keeps me excited and doing this for 30 years is I love making people's dreams come true. And every business owner has a dream, whether they want their business to be a legacy for their kids, or they want to sell it and have a liquidity event or something like that. They have a dream for where they want to get. And at the end of the day, that's what the most important thing is. It's not the best use of that company owner's time to be thinking about, do I need more traffic, or how is my demo form working? That's not a good use of their time. If they can give it to an expert like me and my team who understand how that works. So this company that I just mentioned earlier, this human resources company, they were growing, $1 million more a year, very small, that kind of thing. Next year, they're probably going to grow by another $10 million. So it's exponentially larger than what they were doing before. And guess what? The owner of the business now isn't worried about what the blog copy is on his website anymore. He's really able to have much more strategic conversations with the whole team about how do we scale? What kind of sales resources do we need to handle all these leads? What are the products that we should be rolling out so that we are relevant in the market, because the market has changed? And so it's just a whole different level of conversation by leveraging a resource like ours.
Well, that's interesting, and it's very inspiring. And I'm hearing a lot from you about, making people's dreams come true, of being eager to solve their problems, of looking for problems, and maybe even getting people out of the day-to-day minutia and getting them to stop focusing on, well, I just need to fix this one little thing on the webpage, this little thing of traffic. I'm saying, like, we'll take care of that. Let's look at the big picture. Let's look at scaling and of having some predictability in the business and some stability. So that way it's not just so much guessing and so much chaos. So it seems like a very much needed service. And so can you tell us about you and your company? And if people are listening to our conversation today and they say, I'm eager, I want to know more, I want to know if I'm a good fit, where do they go? What do they do?
Sure. The first step is to go to our website, keomarketing.com. If you go to services, you'll see a page called Fractional CMO Services, and it really walks you through how the program works. You can request a complimentary marketing audit. So most agencies who do audits, they charge you $2,000 to $5,000 for an audit after you're working together. We put that same and even more level of effort into the audit at no cost. And what that does is it shows you a sense of the quality of our thinking. It gives you a roadmap for how to be successful, whether we decide to work together or not. So you'll have an asset that you can use. What it does on my side is it helps me with my team determine if we can deliver success. Most of our clients, in fact, all of our clients currently, have been with us for 2, 3, 5, 10, 12 years, a long time. So we put a lot of work up front to make sure that we feel like we can hit it out of the ballpark for you. And then if that makes sense, then we would move forward. So keomarketing.com.
keomarketing.com, go to services, and then click on fractional CMO. So that way you can find out what all the fuss is about with this new innovative way to solve your marketing problems. keomarketing.com is the place to go. Any final words of advice, Sheila, before we shut this thing down?
Robert, thanks for the time. Thanks for the opportunity to talk about this. My whole team we're based in Phoenix, but we have clients all over the country, some who have business in other countries. We're really passionate about helping mid-market companies be successful, and we have a lot of fun doing it. So thanks for the opportunity.
Well, you're very welcome, and your passion and your sense of fun really shows. And we want to make the whole marketing and internet process fun for any companies that need your help and need your service. So keomarketing.com. I want to make sure I had that right. keomarketing.com is the place to go. And we'll see you there. So that way you can tap into getting your very own fractional CMO.
Thanks for listening to Action and Ambition with your host, Andrew Metal. Please leave a review and subscribe, and go to andrewmetal.com for all the exclusive lessons, behind-the-scenes footage, and video content of the show. Follow us on Facebook and YouTube at Action and Ambition, and we'll see you on the next episode.